Hello guys, in this video here we will be taking a look at the Seat Ibizia. It's a FR 115 DSG with the DSG automatic gearbox, 150 horsepower, 4-cylinder car. And this is a hire car. It's a company called Hire, where you basically just walk up with your phone and hire the car. Taking a look at the car itself, it's fairly clean, I would say. The doormats, you can see the car have been used. Otherwise, it's a fairly new car, I believe. Starting the engine, this is an automatic car. And the first thing I get is tire pressure warning. Have to check out that. What is hire? It's almost like you spell it. You hire a car, and it's like a ride sharing company, but where you share a car. And I think there's both private owners of the car you rent, and but mostly of them are from corporations that like hire out cars. And one of the bigger owners, I believe, behind this thing is Møller Bil. Møller Bil is one of Norwegian's biggest, or if not the only, importer of VAG cars or VAG group cars to Norway, all these Volkswagens. And they have now introduced Seat again back to Norway, which is a car that I am driving. And but you can only drive or buy Seat through the internet in Norway. They don't have any showrooms. You can test drive their car, and I think they also have the test drives linked up to this system somehow also. But I am driving now a Seat Ibizia. Seat Ibizia is based on the same platform as the Volkswagen Polo and the Skoda Fabia, and also the Audi A1. And the car weighs around 1100 kilograms, and in total it's got 115 horsepower, and it's using a DSG gearbox, which is automatic, that we can see down here. And you have the manual functions down here, but you also have the pedals. And DSG is like a double clutch gearbox from Volkswagen or Volkswagen Group, and it drives fairly nice, quick shifts. But yeah, I would like a manual, but in a hire car like this, of course you won't find any manuals. To me, I don't really feel the difference between a DSG gearbox and a normal automatic. But that could also be me, that I'm not just used to driving automatics. You can get this car here with 3 and 4-cylinder engines. I am of course driving the 4-cylinder petrol engine, and you get it in different specs. And this car here is the FR spec. I'm not sure what it stands for, but I think it's more like a little bit of an upgrade. You get like the LED headlamps, maybe a little bit nicer interior, maybe a better screen or something, and you have something like FR Plus, which feature not Bose but Beats audio system actually. And yeah, never seen that in a car before, but these cars are maybe for a little bit more of a younger demographic, so maybe more people know what Beats are in this age group here. And the Beats audio system is a 6-speaker six speaker system, and you also got 8-inch touchscreen here, which you can hook up to your phones and such, and we can see that there's also been someone in this system before me and they haven't deleted their phones. I will have to test the audio system later. You also got wireless charging in this car here. It's not like a lot of features, but you have them. See if my iPhone will start to charge. Yeah, it will charge, and I'm not sure if it has something to do with safety, but you can't really see the screen where it's at, but it's very secure and it won't like fall around or wobble around there. And in this thing here, there's also a GSM increaser. I'm not sure how it works, but it like intensifies the mobile signal out of your car, and you get better range, or better, yeah, you get what I mean. So this car here is delivered with the optional extra LED headlamps. I have to test them later, see how the beam pattern is. And we also want to see what kind of tires this car is delivered with. It would be interesting to see if they like give you the worst tires, or if you actually get some more quality tires. Otherwise, this car got ESP, nothing special, but it will save you if you're driving in the winter and won't spin out as easily. You have a lot of airbags, of course, backup camera and park sensors, and I also think there's a rain sensor here. I'm not sure how I operate it, but we have to see. Maybe I find out about that later. Here we actually have one of Tesla's service centers. It's actually fun to see. Previously they are parked all of their cars in the street because they had so many cars that need to go to maintenance and they couldn't get through them, and they parked them all of their cars here for a few years. Maybe they have gotten better, but back to this car. You have cruise control, adaptive cruise control. Yeah, I think that's it. So there's a stop sign. Of course it's raining here, so we get a lot of traction control, but I have to say the pull on this car is not like super great, but it really gets on moving. When you get a little bit up to speed, it's a front wheel drive car. But yeah, I wouldn't complain about the acceleration with this car, at least. And the automatic gearbox is fairly quick. Yeah, it feels fairly good. I have to go the normal speed limit here, but like downshift here now. I haven't driven this car much, but the seating position and like the quality and such, it's not like great, but for the price and for what this like car is made to be, I think it's an very not okay, but okay product, yeah. And this here is like a Volkswagen Polo, but people describe it as a little bit less refined Polo. At 80 kilometers an hour with summer tires, I wouldn't actually say it's quiet in here. There's fairly much or high road noise, even compared to my Saab. And when reading in like compared to the Volkswagen Polo, you will have a lot more sound isolation in the Polo. And they would call this car a parts bin special. It's made in Spain, with Volkswagen Group parts, and it's made to be a cheaper version of the Polo, and it isn't really helping here with the rain on the windshield either. But you have GPS or sat-nav here. I'm not sure if you have some CarPlay here. Then you probably have to connect your phone, which I don't want to on this rental car here. And here you have a eco trainer or something. And there is a few different things to go through here. I wouldn't really say that I've never even used this entertainment system before, but I would think it takes some time to get used to the function, how you go back, how you navigate. I'm not sure how you go about this, but I'm driving the car and radio is the most important for me. Fairly responsive at least. We will go in this direction here, and it's in Energy Norway, which is perfectly fine for me. And you also have like the GPS thing in the screen there, so it's like a small compact car with fairly a lot of like the newer tech or technologies. The sound system I've tested is not like great or anything, but it gets the job done. But if you are upgrading to the Beats system, I think you will maybe have a little bit more like surround sound and get some more bass from the rear. It's very much like a standard system with a few speakers up front, and you get the standard amount of bass and such, nothing special to it. Otherwise, interior looks nice, a lot of plastics, in this car here, but a lot of it is like not, this here is like leather or vinyl, but then you have the cheaper hard plastic on top and on the sides. But we see on the sides, on the side door card, we actually got some like mood lighting or some ambient light in the door cards. I really like those small features. And you also have some lights at the pedals and in the door, in the footwell. So I'm here now driving on the automatic or the adaptive cruise control. You can actually get very near to the car in front, with at least too near to my comfort, but otherwise it keeps the distance very nice. We have a lot of information in the display here. It shows the cruise control. If we change like this, you change the distance you want to the car in front. We have the rel limiter, and you can change this view here also to get some different views depending on what you like. We get the fuel gauge on the right side there, and also the engine temperature. Everything is climate control is very easy to use. I like to just leave it in the automatic mode, and it does the thing for me. Just dial in the temperature, and I like those LCD screens as well. I just like the graphics on these kinds of screens. To me it looks very nice. And down here you will have chargers and aux input as well as the wireless charger, of course, that you can use. I forgot that you can put it in different drive modes, but in sport it goes even better in my opinion, and it will stay with high revs for a longer time. So if you are gonna push it out of a corner, you will have the engine in more of an ideal range. And the cool thing is, not the cool thing, but you have these modes down here. You can choose economy, normal, sport. It doesn't got in like adaptive suspension, so it's basically engine and gearbox, but you can change it to individual. And the steering, of course, it's probably a little bit harder when you're in sport, but you can set motor to sport, but you can also set the air condition and the climate control something to sport. I'm not sure what that will do. But in the corners here it feels perfectly fine, and it's like a small nimble car. The suspension is fairly soft, but I think it's a little bit harder in this FR version. I'm not sure about that. But this is a city car, and so you don't get as much sound insulation. But Seat, they also got some like racing heritage with the Leon Cupras and such. Remember those from like stock car racing, even though I'm not too much into like racing. But older Seats, in my opinion, they have always been boring car with like weird designs. But the last models on these new platforms, I think they have absolutely nailed the design, with headlamps front and sides, but it still feels like a cheap car. And when you look at the brakes and such, you see where they like save the money, but it's cooler than a lot of other options probably. And it's made in Europe by Spanish people. In Norway this car here costs 240,000 NOK. Here we have the new Porsche, the Porsche something electric, Taycan, yeah, Taycan, Porsche Taycan. And I lost my, yeah, 240,000, which is fairly high. In Norway we drive electric cars like the Porsche, because then you don't have to pay taxes and the fees that they like put on gas vehicles like this. So if this were electric or hybrid, we would have a much cheaper car. And in Sweden I believe this costed like almost 100,000 less, or at least 80,000 Norwegian krone less in Sweden, which is around $10,000 less. And that's more or less the difference between Norway and Europe or Sweden. Here in Norway we have you have like sales tax 25%, but then you also pay an extra tax amount depending on how big the engine and the emissions of the engine itself. See, we have the FR with probably the FR steering wheel. Not sure, but it feels like fake leather, but the feel is fairly nice, and it won't like get like hockey puck smooth very fast. Very light horn, window controls back, and you got electric windows in the back and in the front, but I think that's on the higher trim levels. This here is like vinyl wrapped, I would believe, or real leather. So this is like soft touch with this nicer stitching here. But otherwise these pants here are plastic. There isn't too much soundproofing behind this, and it feels fairly cheap, and you get some vinyl leather here and a fairly plasticky holder. I like to feel with my leg that center console is fairly sturdy, and it actually is, even though there is some play to it, but a lot of hard plastic here. The boot here is the leather again, and leather shifter here with engine start stop, mode buttons, and the traction control and some other functions down here, and there's an optional extras here which are not equipped. Chargers, the climate panel which I talked about, this screen here with got a lot of information, and you get Apple CarPlay. A little bit plasticky, not the biggest glow box, but it's fairly good standard. Yeah, and mirror up here, which I would believe is automatic dimmable, and some incandescent light bulbs here. Maybe they could have put some LEDs now in 2020. There's a fuel card, and no lights in the mirrors here. So seats are just fabric seats. I would say the comfort is fine, and it feels to be very well cushioned. Backside here we have 3 seats. There isn't much to it, but I will see if I can fit in the behind myself. So here we have the car LED tail lamps with the exhaust tips, and I will have to say, like, off the brakes, they are disc brakes, but they are very small. You get aluminum rims. There is some damage to the car, which somebody already have scratched up. Front brakes seems to be fine. Aluminum front wheels, of course, and LED blinkers on the sides. Seems to be automatic headlamps, which are not on. LED headlamps, they are not matrix LEDs. I'm not sure how you turn on the fog lamps, but they are incandescent if they work. We will see on the wall how the beam pattern is. Otherwise, when it comes to beam pattern, it's not very sharp, but we have to keep in mind that there is some water on the lenses, and you get a little bit more light with high beam, but yeah, not very much of a high beam. Maybe we'll see if there is some fog lamps here. If so, I'm not sure how you turn on fog lamps in this car. Beam pattern, nothing special. It's LED, so it will last you a long time, but they're not really bright. I can fit behind myself. It's not too comfortable, but I will be fine for a shorter or a few hour trip, maybe 2-hour trip. But you can see there is like some indent to the seat that I can have my legs like this, even though it's a little bit, seat is a little bit too far back, but otherwise I can have my legs like this, and I am like 187 centimeters. So I will now go deliver the car somewhere on the hills over there. I think I have reviewed the car, or at least tried to review this car. It got blind sensors as well. This is my first car review. It's hard to fit everything in there. Not sure how much footage I actually have.